Good morning. This is video 2. It's the fun video. It takes operators no more than 15 minutes to learn the dashboard. It's an easy thing to learn. Before we go there, I just wanted to recap one thing. Once you put IVops in an auto mode, which you did by going into mode and putting it on auto, you will see this line pop up at the bottom which says when it will run again after how many hours. Here we have put it on auto mode and we have set it to run at 12:15 or something like that. I'll show you that screen. The bottom line here, over here, says when it will import the data. And you'll see there's a slight difference at time. It imports it at a certain time and then it runs it. So we had put the import on auto. The time that it will import, it says, is at noon. So it assumes that you have updated your monthly sheet if it is automatically bringing in the data, or entered the value in your Excel sheet, saved it, and it will bring in the new value at noon. You can reset this time. It's very easy to do so. If you just take it out of auto mode for a second, you can change this time over here. The interval is kept at 1 day, and then you can put it back on auto mode. And if you want to change, which I don't recommend, we just set it once. There's no reason to keep changing it. But if you want to change when you want to do your auto run, you will change it here. Right now it's set at 12:30 for this particular scenario. For this other scenario, which is the steady state, it is set up to run at 12:15. So I've already done it for you. We may do one change based on when Frankie and you have to have the time, or the lab has the time to update those files, so that once those files are updated for the current for yesterday's data, after that IVops goes in and imports those values. So do not make changes every day. So back to the current dynamic simulation, and we'll get back to the dashboard. Single click here and the dashboard will be open. In your case, if you're on auto run, the dashboard will always be open on your computer. We will set it so that your computer does not go into the sleep mode, and that way it automatically runs. If you happen to shut it off, you just turn on the computer, open the IVops file, set it to auto import, set it to auto run. It will take you no more than 2 minutes. Single click on the dashboard, your dashboard will open up, and you just stay there. So here's the dashboard we were at. And let's first see what data exists. We have a panel here, or panel container 1. In that container, we have put in the flow for the raw effluent, the secondary effluent, and disinfection effluent. We have other panels, panel container 2, which is anoxic A, anoxic B, and swing A. We have panel container 3. If I click on it, you'll see it. We have oxic A, oxic B, oxic C, and oxic C effluent, reaeration effluent. Now if you have a screen with a 1920 by 1080 resolution, which I think your main computer does have, and all new laptops have, and we are recommending that with IVops you do go to a 1920 by 1080, which is the HD resolution. You can accommodate a lot more panels. Here's a single flow panel for the digester supernatant. Now, what's over here? Well, let's say you want to make changes. You open up this hierarchy, go to the flow stream you want, and you select that, and we will learn how to drop that into the panel. So, how do we move things around? If I want to move this panel, press the left button on the mouse, go to the top row which says panel container, and drag it around. As simple as that. Okay. So now let's say we want to see this Explorer a little bit better to be able to reset it. Now, you're not going to be resetting your panel every day. In fact, once you set it, we want you to just stick to it. Unless for some reason you find that, oh, I really wish I had this other data and I don't need this this particular data, you can then do that. So on this panel, for example, we did not have digested sludge. We had digested supernatant. You really want to get the digested sludge data added in. Okay, you go here, click on it. We are in flow streams. Okay, let's go back one minute here. We are in the flow streams. You go back down, find the digested sludge. I've clicked on it. Then right click. Once you right click with your mouse, and you should get familiar with left clicking the mouse and right clicking the mouse, this thing pops up add panel. So click on add panel. Wait, here's your digested sludge panel. It shows it has 20,000 milligrams of TSS, 13,000 of VSS, etc. Interesting data. So much ammonia, 1.7 nitrate because you're cycling the air on and off. Okay. So next, you decide to get fancy. You want to bring this guy here, which was the digester supernatant, and you want to dock it to the right. So bring it over this guy. So what I've done is I've pressed the left button of the mouse. I've gone to the top row, and now I'm dragging it around. And I bring it here, and once you bring it here, you have a left arrow, a top arrow, a right arrow, and a bottom arrow. Get to the arrow that you want and release the mouse. And you have now created a panel container which has the supernatant and the digested sludge. The supernatant is now to the left of the digested sludge because we decided to dock it that way. Now you decide to get even fancier. You want the dewatered sludge values also in this panel. Okay, so let's go down. Click on the dewatered sludge. Right click and add panel comes. Single click on the add panel, and here's your dewatered sludge. Okay, the numbers seem a little off, but we will fix it. Let's move this guy, and let's say we want it docked to the right of the digested sludge. So here. And now I have this panel container over here. I can go to its end. And here I have this container with a digester supernatant, digester sludge, and dewatered sludge. I can move it wherever I want, and I can leave it on the screen. If you had a large screen, you could you could dock a lot more panels. So if I want to see the digester flow, just click on the flow tab. It tells you at a certain time of the day you were supernating out of the digester. If you want to see the digested sludge flow, here's the digested sludge flow. The dewatered sludge, here it is. If you want to see the ammonia, here's how it looked like. Digested sludge, here's how it looked like. This ammonia, or this ammonia, here's how it looked like. If you want to see the nitrate, click on the nitrate. It went up to 2.5 milligrams per liter. Here's a nitrate in the digested sludge. Here's the nitrate in the digested supernatant. Okay. Let's say you want to get rid of this panel container. Just click if you want to get rid of the entire container, go on the container line and click on the X. If you want to get rid of the dewatered sludge, let's say, okay, I don't need it. Just go in this container, just go here and click on this. And now you're left with these two other panels. You want to shrink them, go to this end and shrink it. If your timestamp is not coming up, just go down here and make it a little taller. Let's move this way here. Now, you really like this panel and you want to save it. You see this X button, not the overall X which is all the way on the top right, but you go in here and we will make some improvements down along the road. You'll get every plant will get a new release which will make life a little easier. Click on this X and say, in this case, do you want to save this dashboard that we created or do we not want to save it? If you really want to save it, click yes. But again, there should be no reason why every day you're playing around with the dashboard and making changes. Just stick to something. Maybe once every 3 months you want to customize it based on what you have learned. So I'll say yes. Now, so we are out of this dashboard. I want to get to the current steady state and show you its dashboard. So if you go to the current steady state, that also has its own dashboard. The steady state dashboard does not have all these fancy graphs over the last 24 hours. It shows you, okay, based on the last 24 hours steady state 30-day average data and the current DO levels, what should be your ammonia, nitrate, etc. There are many other places where you can get a lot more information out of the model, and we will look at that. But again, your main tool of communication and getting data out of the model is your dashboard. So single click on the current steady state dashboard and it will open up. Now the steady state dashboard, you can see, is not set up because I was playing around with it. It's not set up very well, but moving things around the dashboard is still the same. There is only one new thing on this dashboard, which is monitors, and I will cover that. So let's do a little bit of playing around with this dashboard. Here's the raw influence, and here was a monitor. This was an MCRT monitor. And you had two sets of MCRTs. One was the MCRT of your bioreactors along with your clarifier. One is the same MCRT without the clarifier. This is winter, so you're not wasting much sludge, so the MCRT is high. And this is just the oxic zone MCRT. This one is the MCRT of your aerobic digester. Now, we've already set up your model to have these MCRTs. You can decide which ones you want to display and which ones you do not. Okay, here we have a raw influence. And let's do something we did in the previous panel. We will stay on flow streams, but we also want to add in the secondary effluent data. Okay, let's scroll down. Here's the secondary effluent. Click on it. Then right click, add panel comes up, click on add panel, and here's the secondary effluent data. Let's say we want to dock it right beside this. Go here, go to the right arrow, and it's docked. These two are docked in one container. Now you want to see a little bit more. You want to see a lot more of this data, what all there is. Here you have it. So, what do you want to display? Here's ammonia, here's SKN, here's TKN. You have other things like total soluble phosphorus in the raw and in the secondary effluent. Total phosphorus before the filter, secondary effluent is before the filter. Soluble BOD. Values that you otherwise cannot get because you don't have online probes. And you don't want the lab to go crazy getting your data every day, everywhere. IViewOps is calibrated to your plant. It fills in places where you just physically do not have the capability to get the data. It's inaccessible or get a good sample. You do not have the lab resources, or you do not have the sensors, Or, more important, in some cases when we go to dynamic simulation, if you want to track SKN, there is no SKN probe. If you invented one, please offer it to this industry. The bank account will be large enough that you don't have to work as an operator any other day. Unless you really love plant operations, then of course, even if you win a lottery jackpot, you'll still work as an operator. So, let's look at what is new over here, and let's look at how to add and remove monitors. Here's a digester MCRT monitor. I don't like it. I don't need it here. Who cares how many days MCRT there is in the digester? Okay, why should I waste space on this? I click on this X and out it goes. So now I've deleted the digester, and my boss comes and says, hey, why did you delete the digester? I want to know what the MCRT of the digester is. So we now need to dig around and find that. It's pretty easy. Just go down to the bottom of this thing and you will find a place where we have the MCRTs one after another. Now you won't have to struggle as much because your monitor is going to be an HD monitor. But you see over here there is MCRT with secondary clarifier, without secondary clarifier, aerobic MCRT, digester MCRT. When you open up the hierarchy, there will be a monitor and it will say digester MCRT. Right click on it, say add panel, and back comes the digester MCRT over here. You can shrink it by going to this end and going to the bottom so that it doesn't take up too much space, and you have the digester MCRT. Okay, so let's do this exercise again. Let's say for some reason I got rid of all the MCRT panels, and Lightning came to the point and said, hey, what happened to your MCRT? What is your MCRT? Rather than dig through all your other Excel files, you can just say, okay, I'm going to display it here. I'll open, and I want to know the MCRT without the secondary clarifier. Open up this, open up the monitor, MCRT without secondary clarifier. Click on this, right click, press add panel, and Lenny, here we have the MCRT. What do you want to do with it? Well, it's very high. What will happen when your plant becomes is receiving 3 mgd of flow? I'll put the other ditch online. Well, what happens if you have to work on a ditch? Well, the pointer tells me you need to go in the all scenario and evaluate that, and use the evaluate steady state to get those answers. Let's do it. So that's what we will do in video 3. We will learn how to evaluate things. The big boss may ask, how to get all this stuff. Okay, Larry says, well, what is your aerobic MCRT? So let's go here, open it up, get to the monitor, click on it, then right click, add panel, come in here and dock it. If you want it docked, the two side by side. Now you cannot see much, but okay, we will just expand it, and there you have the rest. The aerobic MCRT along with the MCRT without the secondary clock. Now, one thing before we leave, let's just recap how you get the flow stream. Just go up and you will see under flow streams, let's say we want the filtered effluent or the disinfection effluent on the screen. It's not here. Let's scroll down, find the disinfection effluent. Click on it, right click, add panel, and there you have it. Disinfection effluent, and it comes in as a table. Well, I added it in the wrong place. I added it beside the supername to the wrong container. Just remove it. I'll go back and redo it and put it on this. So again, right click on this, add panel. Here's the panel. There is the disinfection effluent data, and now I have to add how much TSS there is in it, what is its nitrate, what is its total phosphorus, etc. Now if I want to save it, Go here, click on this, and it'll ask you, do you want to save your dashboard? Most instances, you do not have to because we're not messing around with the dashboard. But if you did and you want to save it, say yes, and your dashboard gets it. Now, there are two other places that you can go look at data. One great place to look at data, let's go back to current dynamic simulation, is the same for current steady state and current dynamic. Is this results? Click on the results. And then you get the same hierarchy. And let's say we want to see what the values are out of an oxic C effluent. Click on the anoxic C effluent. No, it doesn't have the 24 hours of data. That's because we said, okay, we didn't want to save it, but we can change that. I'll show you how to. Let's go to reaeration effluent. And here, we did ask the model to save the 24 hours data. So it has a summary table, and we will spend some time outside the video looking at this. You also have graphs like, let's say this was the flow in the reaeration effluent because it's the influent flow plus the RAS flow here. But you want to look at the ammonia. Here's how it spiked up because it spiked up when we shut the blower. But this is not the same as the secondary effluent, the clarified damped soda. Look at the TKN. We can look at other parameters. So you have these tables and graphs over here. This is a great place to look at it. So let's say we were looking at the NOx here. And now we want to go to the secondary clarifier and its effluent and look at its NOx. Well, just click on it. And here's the NO3 and NO2 of the secondary clarifier. The secondary clarifier is on, and you can see that. Now let's say we want to look at the oxic zone, oxic A effluent. Click on it. And here's the NO3 of the oxic. And when the digester, when the blower was turned off, it went to 0 nitrates. You want to go back and look at the ammonia? Click on the ammonia. This is how the ammonia behaves. Now let's say we want to look at oxic B ammonia. Just click on this. And here's the ammonia of oxic B. Oxic C, click on this. And here it is. And you can keep tracking it. And oxic C, there it is. It's slowly coming down. Reaeration effluent, there it is. Secondary effluent, there it is. So this is a great way to look at graphs and the data, in addition to the dashboard. So you can leave your dashboard open, that's fine. And you can look at these values. Okay, the third place is if you go to steady state, you can go and click on any flow stream over here in the pipe, and the data will show up here. So we will cover that separately in a meeting when we meet.